peace, and love, eternal love. You see, we have the blackboard on the screen today because I want you to I want to bring you into what I'm doing currently. And what I'm doing currently is on the blackboard. And I call this right here, this is the grandiose of my discovery. I'm calling this is the biggest lie I have ever discovered. This is the biggest lie I have ever discovered, and it was discovered today at December 2nd on a Saturday, 2:25. Well, I'm bringing it live. It just happened some moments before as I was writing this out. And as I was typing this out, I thought this would be a great time to bring in an explanation. And so I'm not going to do this video over and over, and I'm not going to do this topic over and over, because I'm transcending into eternal existences. So these lesser existences, they have their existence. But for those who want to know the way out of those lesser realms into the greater realms, then this video is for you. But in order to understand how to get into the greater realms, you got to have the greater education, the greater knowledge, the superior knowledge, not over someone, but the superior knowledge of existence. Yes. And so you will not get to the superior knowledge of this existence through what I call the stolen spiritual philosophy. The stolen spiritual philosophy. And it goes like this. Many cultures, culture vultures, today has destroyed the meaning to the word known to the ancient life as spiritual wisdom. Okay, now this was done by concepts and objects. These concepts and these objects was created by Plato, and more specifically, Plato's Republic. I hope that hit a little bit, because what do you live in? A Republican or Democrat? Okay, so understand those are concepts, and those concepts linked to objects. And this is how they stole our spiritual philosophy, because our philosophy don't link to objects. Okay, as we go to the next paragraph, these Platonic ideas, talking about, you see the circle, the Plato's Republic. Bear with me one moment. Let me get some tools. For study. You see Plato's Republic. So we have Plato's Republic. So these Platonic ideas. So let's say it this way. So the way people think today is based on Platonic ideas. Now, Platonic ideas are called concepts. Now, check this out. With my Platonic ideas are called concepts. And concepts, now these ideas known as concepts have been objectified. See this word right here, objectified. Objectified. Objectified for what? To be understood as a living spirit. This is what they words. As a living spirit. Now, as you're going to be able to logically understand that objects has no spirit. And now when I use that word spirit, we keep going. I'll show you what I mean by spirit. This is why they are not considered having life or consciousness. Having life or consciousness. So they changed that word consciousness to the word spirit. And they hijacked our wisdom, because consciousness is the same word as wisdom. And they stole that wisdom and philosophy and turned it into a living spirit known as concepts and objects. So, next paragraph. So they took the spiritual wisdom and dumbed it down through making spiritual concepts. And that objects can be imbued with spirit. This is where they created called magic. So when they create a concept and that concept is imbued by an object, they call that magic. Magic, I don't have that word written down here, but you hear it. Magic. This is why magic is forbidden with the law. Because magic is a power to deceive. And this is what we've been deceived by. Concepts and objects. So, back to the beginning of what I said, this is the biggest lie I have ever discovered. The stolen spiritual philosophy. Now, it has me going. These crabs in the buckets. Man, so these videos finna get real lovely. These Sufas, what I call these videos, these Sufas finna get real lovely. Because now this is eradicated and illuminated. Now we can move forward. So now we know what the stolen philosophy is. It's taking spiritual wisdom and making spiritual concepts, and that objects can be imbued with consciousness, spirit. So as we see, consciousness is you and I. So you and I is not an object. What they have done is made you and I an object that goes and chases after concepts. So for instance, the top concept now is money. Money. So you as an object, they classify you need the concept of money to remain an active life or to be survived. Okay? So this is how they hijacked the PhDs of all university and created a whole new Plato, modern Greek version of ancient wisdom. And so everything that we have learned have to be unlearned, because what we learned was concepts and objects. What we didn't learn was knowledge of self, which is knowledge of your consciousness. That your consciousness is not an object, it's a living being. Ooh, it's a living being that can walk and come to you. So if your object can't walk, can't talk, can't come to you, you have to go to it, you have to pick it up, you have to spend money for it. That's called objects. If you call your child by name, they come to you. That's called consciousness. And this is the greatest gift that we was given, not anything called an object. So now that we surely have debunked by showing through logic, we don't need no pictures, we don't need no images. All we need is word and logic and knowledge. And you will see how all this comes together. And as you see, this is what has been tricking us, is these concepts that they turned into objects and displayed them by words. So now, next paragraph, is Plato Republic is a triangle. Plato's Republic is a triangle. The shape of what I'm talking about of objects is a triangle. And a triangle have 3 points. So these points is what is called concepts and objects, and you being the creator of making these come a reality. So in actuality, the concept means nothing. The concepts that they have given us actually means nothing. And so the objects we go after actually means nothing because they have no consciousness. Let's see. Because they have no, because they are without conscious. And so the object is without, no, wrong. Let's redo. So right here. So the object is without consciousness. So now it makes the concept unconscious and the object unconsciousness. And what they haven't told the people is what I discover by putting these two together. If you are going after things that have no consciousness, then you are going after, let me bring the highlighter, death. And I have created a new word for their philosophy. Because it's not philosophy. It's Dieology. They teach a philosophy, which is not a philosophy, which I call Dieology, which is how to die and become a deity. That's very important. These things all relate to death. At death, you will become a deity. Not one resurrected, but you will be non-resurrected because you believe in death. And you didn't know you believed in death, but everything you believed in was a concept. It wasn't an actuality. It was a concept of something that's actual. And so this is what has taken our people off their number and put them on many numbers. And so the resolution to this is below this. The opposite of above. Now the opposite of what we just discussed above is you dealing with logic. You're dealing with action. And through these two, this is the way of wisdom and truth, called a Sufian, which is a deity. See the reverse spelling they put? D-I-E, where the true creator goes as D-E-I. So that's the reverse. So that's what they created here, was a reverse. So now, the one who lives forever or everlasting life is the Sufian. If you look up the word, let me look it up for you. Let's show you. This is how they spell it. Remember, they always hide everything. Immeasurable period of time. See eon, let's click on eon. Age, vital force, a period of existence, a lifetime, a generation, a long space of time, in plural, eternity. There go the word we're looking for, eternity. So let's go back. The Sufian, the eon, deals with eternity. And the Suf, the S-U-F, in front of the I-A-N, deals with, that's the ancient word for self. So the ancients were Sufians, immortal, divine, spiritual beings known as Sufians, self. Those who had knowledge of self. And those who had knowledge of self, Sufian, had knowledge of what they left behind called Allah. And Allah is not a shape. Allah is a circle. Not the inside of a circle, but the circle like space. How everything is inside space, but space still surrounds everything inside. So that's like Allah when it comes to the infinite eternity, the eternal circle. So the circle represents the eternal. The circle represents the eternal. And the triangle represents the mortal. Now, it wishes to become immortal, but it never becomes immortal because it's a triangle. So logically, it could never reach what a circle is. It has to be a circle. So now, through the circle, this is why we need to understand. I'm finna draw a shape that I want us to pay attention to. Get that color. I'll just do it right here. We in this range. All right, we got a circle that you see right there. And see what we're going to do is put a triangle in there. Now, this is what they have done to the people. They have created our space, and then they have filled our space with the wanting of concepts and objects. And so this has created us to make a triangle within our circle, which now makes one without consciousness. All consciousness is a circle. So we're gonna do, let's do a bigger triangle. All right, and then let's draw a circle within the triangle. Now you see the circle, the consciousness in the center of the triangle, which gives it a portal, a opening, a omnipresence. Now we want us to look at how this really works. Now, if you have the triangle in the midst of your circle, see, you can be spun. Oh, let's reroute. See that? You can be spun all around in any direction when you become an object. And this is what they are doing to the American people, making a consciousness into an object by conceptualizing. So that is what's happening to that point. Now, you see the direction the triangle is facing. Now let's look at the circle. Now, once we do the same thing with the circle, I want to see, do you see the same movement? I'm spinning the circle just like I was spinning the triangle. But see, you can't see the triangle. You can't see the circle spinning as the triangle is spinning, because the triangle is a shape. The circle is not a shape, and this is why you can't see it. You see it? I'm moving it. But you can't see it because it's stationary, which means it's all positive. Well, this can go to negative to positive, creating rising, sinking, up, down, happy, sad, Monday, Sunday, Monday through Sunday. So all of this is happening to the American people. for not understanding the stolen philosophy. So with that, now we have the understanding. We should have the understanding now. We should have the understanding now. This is logic, and you see logic in action. So this is the way. So if we don't understand, we always using statements that we call points to make a point. Points don't exist in space, because circle is a space and a space is a circle, and there's no points in a circle. And so if there's no points in a circle, then this is where the unity of life comes in, that there's no point. It's all a unity of life, and now that point becomes, next to the circle, a cusp. Why there's a cusp? Because there's a beginning and an end. But we don't know where the beginning and the ending is, and this is called a cusp. So this is the beginning of creating what I call cusps and circles, or crescents and circles. So the science of ourself, Islam, is a divine science. It's not a lower science. It's not a higher science. It's the greater, superior knowledge of self. And this is what knowledge is. Undo that. And this is what knowledge is. Spiritual wisdom. Knowledge is spiritual wisdom. Knowledge is self. Knowledge is spiritual wisdom. Knowledge is self. So in order to have knowledge of self, number one, you need knowledge of Allah. That's number two. And when you have the knowledge of self, you now have the knowledge of Allah. And when you have the knowledge of Allah, now you have the knowledge of self. And now we have the tree of life, or the circle 7, or the wisdom and consciousness, where all is Allah. All. And so spiritual wisdom is the specialization of KOS. So in closing, I would like to remind us that it's wisdom loves self. Wisdom loves self. And when self loves wisdom, we become a circle. And so that word circle is called Sufa. This is the ancient word for zero, or cipher, or cipher. It's Sufa. So knowledge equals spiritual wisdom. Spiritual wisdom is the shape of a circle. And the shape of a circle is in between space of things. And that is the self known as the Fatiha. And the Fatiha has, rightfully, the Fatiha has, we know for the Fatiha to have 7 verses, they say, but that's wrong. The Fatiha has 11 surahs. Call them surah. 11 surahs, which would make 11 the master. Which is Allah. Then you have self. And together, that gives you 1 and 1. 11. And so, from there, we have the divine in the space in between is the 101. Peace and love and eternal love and KOS.